What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Grindline Podcast, just episode 245. I'm your host, Greg. I am here tonight with Ryan and Tyler, who apparently still exists. We have Red Wings hockey. I'm watching it right now on my television, and the Blackhawks had like 6 shots in 4.5 minutes, and we're down 1-0, but we literally only have 3 NHL players right now playing. But hockey's back. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm good. There's hockey, and it's going to be one of those nights where, Joey, come on, where like I was getting ready to just say, there's going to be a play happening while I talk, and I get completely distracted. But nice to have all of us here for a change. Tyler, you're proving the doubters wrong.
And there's a lot of them, Tyler. How are you?
I don't care about the doubters. Fuck them haters. No, I'm just kidding. I'm doing great. There's actually hockey to talk about, which is a great thing. I am going to be doing one less podcast now, which I'll talk about after. So I will be a lot more. They
fire you?
No, they did not fire me. They're just discontinuing the podcast because the creator of the podcast is moving on to become the athletic director at his school. So he's just not going to have free nights anymore.
That's a fair reason.
So yeah. And he's like, it's a lot to just make you do the podcast on your own. So he goes, I'm just going to discontinue it, and you can guest on all the other shows if you want to. So that's what I'm doing. So I'll be around a lot more.
Like this show.
No, I'll be around a lot more. Actually coming to town next Thursday, Ryan. So I'll be bothering you for about 4 or 5 days. So yeah.
What we have to talk about tonight is Red Wings hockey. Like we said, we are on game 5 of the preseason right now. With a record of 3 wins and 1 loss, the only loss coming at Washington. And I gotta say, guys, some of it's not been pretty, but there have been some key standouts. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about kind of some of the players who have been the standouts, who have improved as the preseason's gone on and have gotten really good looks. There are some storylines coming out of the preseason so far, and we do have a mailbag. So what I kind of want to start off with is just getting your guys' just your feelings so far on preseason, because I think the depth is evident. I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I kind of want to get your view on what you think so far of the team as a whole's performance. I know it might be a little hard because of the random lineups, but just how it's working out.
I mean, thus far, it's kind of difficult to find a lot to be upset about. I think my number one standout stud, if you will, has been Nate Danielson. It's probably hard to even argue that point if you're really anyone that's been watching the team play so far. But outside of that, there hasn't been really any moments of what are you doing outside guys getting comfortable with each other. And as a whole, I think there's been good compete. You can tell that they're starting to mesh and get comfortable with each other, even though it has been kind of a smorgasbord of a roster night to night, because they've only cut 5 or 6 guys.
Yeah, we have not had any other cut since the initial 2, and the Red Wings have not waived anyone either because teams have been doing waivers for the past few days.
Yeah, so it's kind of difficult, but I now granted that don't they have 4 days straight of hockey coming up?
Yeah, we play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Yeah, so four games.
So
5
Tuesday
days.
is today. We play tomorrow and Thursday, and then Saturday.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why we likely haven't seen those cuts, because you don't want to destroy these guys, obviously. Now, it's going to be interesting to see maybe after tonight if anything happens, because then you got a back-to-back and then a day off and then go into something. So maybe going in after this next back-to-back, we could see some movement, but I don't. It's again a second year in a row where I don't envy the management. I don't envy the coaching staff when it comes to making decisions, because Edvinsson seems like he's gotten more comfortable out there, especially when it comes to his physicality. He's looked good. There's been a few times where he's been kind of maybe, I don't want to use the word lackadaisical, but he's just been kind of there, and from what I've seen. But as a whole, another guy that could be on a bubble, Danielson, Kasper's looked good. The guys that you're hoping would look good have looked good. And that's our youth players that hopefully are knocking on the door. So it's been fun, other than they're losing right now in Chicago. And fuck them.
I think you'll probably see some cuts on Friday. Like you said, we need all the players we can get for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You'll probably see cuts Friday, and then Saturday might be close to final roster. But Tyler, what do you think so far?
Yeah, I agree with you. 90% of the time when there's the last game for the preseason, it's usually best on best, with the outside of maybe like someone working through something or like a minor injury or maybe one of the stars just doesn't play or whatever. But yeah, I think come Saturday, it'll be pretty much the final roster outside of maybe one or two guys on the bubble, like an Edvinsson or a Danielson, as you kind of spoke to. Yeah, so far, I mean, 3 wins, 4 games, about to be 5 games in this game against Chicago right now. I like the way they've played. I mean, obviously they've played with a lot of different players, and so it's hard to gauge what the lines are going to be and that kind of thing. But I feel like you're starting to see it take a little bit more shape. Interested to see what the goalie situation is going to be, because you do have a situation between Reimer and Lyon, and who is going to be that backup and who is going to get waived. And now you have the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have Andrei Vasilevsky going down for 2 months, getting that back surgery. So is that going to be a situation where if you waive Alex Lyon, he's probably getting claimed by Tampa, as you saw what he did with Florida last year? So I don't know. It's interesting. I won't say that it's been perfect. That Washington game on the road was not perfect whatsoever. And tonight, I mean, albeit with a kind of a double A kind of lineup, hasn't looked great either. But we'll see what happens. Only 1-0 Chicago.
Like you said, Ryan and Tyler, there have been some standouts. The goalie situation is an interesting one for me because you also have Hutchinson, who's in on a PTO, who has actually also looked really good. So if the Red Wings don't sign Hutchinson to something, he could, I mean, Tampa would be dumb probably not to pick him up. Now, again, if you waive Lyon, they're probably going to pick up Lyon. If you waive Reimer, they're going to pick up Reimer. The other option is carrying 3 goalies. You could just do that. But it's going to, I mean, you didn't expect Vasilevsky to go down and to put yourself into this situation, but it's a situation nonetheless that's going to have to be worked out. The other thing, in Ryan, we had spoke about this offline before we hit the record button, is I think the only player who might possibly be on a hot seat is Jonathan Berggren. And I mean, Berggren through, let's see, I don't think he has any points so far. Oh no, he's got 2. He's got 2 assists in 3 games, but it's been a lot of defensive issues. The passing's still there. He hasn't scored, but it seems like every time you see him on the ice, it's a pretty bad turnover. And I mean, right now, I think I had him slated on the 3rd line, but he is still waiver exempt and could go back to Grand Rapids without having to pass waivers.
Yeah, him and Veleno, to me, have had a little bit to be desired. Berggren more so than anything else. I mean, Veleno, we know that he's not, the expectations, I think, have completely fallen off in terms of just be sound defensively and don't screw up offensively, and we'll be okay. Like tonight, he already had a couple of huge opportunities right in front, and now I'm starting to think he is the reincarnation of Darren Helm. But Berggren, he's been kind of there.
Connor Bedard is the reincarnation of Darren Helm.
But
that'll piss off some Chicago Blackhawks fans.
Yeah, whatever. But Berggren, to me, I think, yes, it's preseason, but you look at a couple other guys that we've talked about, there's been a little more of an aggression factor, if you will, behind them. Like whether or not they make the roster, it is what it is. But Berggren, I think we thought was maybe a lock, and I wonder if maybe he did too, because I haven't been as wow factor with him as others, and it's kind of disappointing, frustrating, probably an overreaction. Take it which way you want. I mean, do I think he still makes the roster? Sure, but I want maybe a little bit more out of it over these final couple preseason games. But that's just me in having a higher expectation, I think, for him.
A lot of us had penciled him in like, man, we wish there was room in the top 6 for him because that's how he's been playing. And the past couple games, he's struggled quite a bit. Just out there looking uncomfortable, not getting into open space. When he does, he just gets out-muscled and gets the puck stripped away from him. So the guy that I think people are putting up against Berggren, and we got a lot of this in the mailbag, is Nate Danielson. And I think Nate Danielson has done more than you probably could have asked out of a kid who was just drafted in 3 games, has a goal and 2 assists, He's now playing, his third preseason game in a row right now. Danielson's played 3 games so far. The only other players that have played 3 games are Edvinsson, Berggren, Soderblom, and Kasper. Elmer Soderblom has also looked pretty good too. He's just got the defensive issues like normal. But Danielson is showing...
really go as far as saying the defensive issues. Like, it's just been... I don't think there hasn't been an opportunity.
The issue is the defense isn't there. And the physicality is not there. Now that could change, but it's just not right there right now. Nate Danielson, however, has been amazing defensively. He's stripping Connor Bedard. He's in there making moves, making him look like an NHL vet. Now, there's a little polish that still needs to happen, but it looks like right now he could play top 6 minutes and wouldn't miss a beat. Would I probably start him on wing for a season like they did with Dylan Larkin? Yeah, I mean, that would make him get a little more comfortable. Well, he can be defensive. He wouldn't have to be fully relied on for his defensive ability. But again, it's looking like Yzerman knew exactly what he was doing when he picked him. It's just going to be really hard. I really fight with the Michael Rasmussen style situation with Nate Danielson and don't really know what to do with him. But I think we'll get to that in the mailbag. But right now, he's one of my standouts, along with Simon Edvinsson and Marco Kasper, just out there beating people up.
Yeah, getting a fight with Mantha, which Mantha went full bitch boy on that one. I'm not going to lie. That was very similar situation of where, like, there was no dirty play. I mean, Kasper came in from behind on Mantha and more or less gave him a shove. And he was about a good, 5 feet off the boards. And Mantha went shoulder. You could argue probably hit his head on the boards a little bit. And he immediately turned around, got into him, did it one shove. Kasper was backing off. Mantha dropped the gloves immediately. I thought it was a bitch move, but Kasper held his own, gave him a hug, and got the fight stopped essentially without doing anything stupid. Thank God. I like to see that from Kasper, though, not backing down for one, but also being aggressive on guys that are definitely out much larger than him.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think Danielson obviously has been the standout. I think that he is NHL ready. I know, like, I remember when I thought it in my head, and then I saw somebody tweet it, and they're like, do you think there's a chance that he could make the NHL roster? And I'm just like,
hey, why don't you wait for the mailbag?
All right, I will wait for the mailbag, Ryan. But he's been a standout. And is there a chance he makes it? We'll find out.
All right, 2 other players. JT Compher. JT Compher has been very good. And I mean,
that 2-way game has not been on point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's had plenty of shots. He scored a goal finally in the last game, I believe it was. But JT Compher right now in 2 games has 3 points, a goal, and 2 assists with a 16.7% shooting percentage. I mean, Compher has been what you want him to be. You want to see that offense take a step. You want to see that defensive game solidify. And I think he's locked down the 2C position. He's I don't want to say overperformed, but people were ragging on the contract when it was signed. And so far, and again, it's been 2 preseason games, it looks like he's picking up where he left off and should be worth the contract that he was signed to, especially where you're going to play him and as much as you're going to play him.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that I thought when they signed him, he was underrated. He was a huge part of that Colorado Avalanche team that won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago. And, he can play offense. He can obviously play defense. He can kill penalties. He can do kind of everything. And this is kind of the player that I think the Red Wings were looking for when they signed him. I don't think they thought that there would be as much offense, but last year, he had a career year. So he had 17 goals. Oh, no. 2 years ago, he had a career year with 18 goals, but last year he had 52 points. So that was a career year for him. So they're hoping that the 17 goals can go maybe to 20 and, the points can go from 52 to maybe 60 or 65. And, that's a win. That's a huge win. I think he's going to be one of those guys that we're going to be like, wow, we got him and this is all we had to pay for him. I really do believe that. I think he's a very underrated player.
Yeah, speaking of guys that haven't missed a beat after coming back from injury, big Mike Rasmussen. He has looked fantastic out there on the ice.
Oh, yeah.
He is using that body. He is going at the net. He had a beauty snipe the other night, if I remember right. And yeah,
The Moose is
wait for
hungry.
him. Yes. And those eyes are ready to roll.
Yeah, he's had a monster preseason so far, and it's awesome watching him go out there. And when he's on the ice, it's Michael Rasmussen's ice. He's commanding the zone. He's in the corner, mucking it up with guys to get the puck. He's scoring goals, which has been really awesome to see too. In 2 games played, he has 3 goals and 1 assist for 4 points, with a 60% shooting percentage. And it's been really awesome to just see him go out there and kill it. Mike Rasmussen is one that I think if we pegged him for 20 to 25 goals this season, I don't think we're selling ourselves short there. And that's big offensive production that you're going to need in the secondary. And it's a guy who you can flex into your top 6 if you need to. He's a guy that can kill. You could put him on the penalty kill. You could also put him on the power play. I expect him to get a lot of special teams time. And it's like Yzerman said, Rasmussen is just developed into an integral part of this team. And I think, again, Lalone has mentioned him by name as being someone he's really impressed with, especially working in the offseason to get over his injury. They also said that his injury was kind of overblown, where people are like, he shattered his kneecap. Apparently, he didn't shatter his kneecap. He got hit in the right way where his leg had to be immobilized for a bit to just heal up, but it wasn't like a completely destroyed kneecap. So it's good that the injury wasn't that bad, that it shouldn't affect him long term, but he's in here looking like he's absolutely ready to go. I actually think that in the future, you may see an A on Michael Rasmussen.
I agree with you. That's one of those players too that, is he ever going to live up to the 9th overall pick? Maybe not, but that doesn't matter at this point. This is a different regime. This is Steve Yzerman's regime. And you know what? He's found a way to make Michael Rasmussen a player that is useful. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to be that 9th overall pick more than likely. And maybe he'll make me eat words and he'll be a 30-goal scorer one day. I don't know. But, if he's not that, and he's a guy that can just sit in front of the net and tip some pucks in and, have 15 goals and, 30 assists, then you're talking about a guy that's on the 3rd line and, at times need be on the 2nd line or on the 1st power play unit if he's not on the 2nd power play unit. I think that Michael Rasmussen is one of those guys that as he gets older is going to continue to get better and better.
So in 56 games last season, he had 10 goals and 19 assists for 29 points. So Ryan, realistically, what are your Michael Rasmussen expectations this season?
What was the stat line again?
He had 10 goals and 19 assists for 29 points with 43 PIMs.
I mean, I think you're looking for almost a 2020 season, to be honest. And I think if you're getting that, you're getting what you'd hope for and then some. That means that he's taking the load off of someone in terms of goal scoring, and it's likely coming at 5-on-5. What was his 5-on-5 scoring? I have to pull up Hockey Reference. But, I mean, if that's the case, that's huge because I think from what we've seen so far, there's already a bit of an expectation being set in terms of our top guys on the ice. That power play is going to be lethal, but it's not going to include Rasmussen. Now, it might, never know. But that means that his production and what he's doing is going to be at even strength or the sort, whether it's 4-on-4, 5-on-5, and things of that nature. So can he count on the power play too? Sure. But
28 of his 29 points were even strength.
So there you go. If he keeps doing that, but bumps that up to around 40 points total, I think 45, 50 would really be pushing it, but amazing. So I would like to see a 2020 or 15-25 season out of him. And I think that's a huge win.
All right. I'm going to mention a couple more guys because we're just going to keep rolling on preseason impressions so far. Another guy who, again, could be a huge sleeper going forward is Daniel Sprong. Like we mentioned, the Sprong bomb initially that we saw in training camp. The Sprong bomb has made a reappearance with 2 goals and assists for 3 points in 2 games. And he's just out there slinging them, man. And it's really, really fun to watch. Sprong, just the second the puck gets to him, fire it. And it's in the net. And it's a laser. It's very accurate. The goalies have no chance. And I think he's a guy, too, that is going to pick up where he left off and provide that depth scoring.
I knew we were excited about it before, but seeing that thing in action, we talked about it a little bit, even from the up in Traverse City. He's not messing around. if the Heat, and what I think what impressed me the most about it though, is that it seems that more often than not, majority of the time, it gets through. Whether it's a slap shot or a crazy wrister, you can tell, and I think I said this last time before, that his time, like with Seattle, because he was with Washington, like teams that, especially the Caps, a team with a very good power play. Guys that know how to get the puck on net. Yes, I get it, Ovechkin, but you have Karlsson at the point, and the way that they move the puck, there were systems in place between those two teams. They were elite at getting pucks on net and putting the puck in the net. Sprong has brought that with him, it seems like, and it's wreaking havoc, and I love it. And he's also just hitting the hell out of people. Like every time he's on the ice, you know that he's out there, and he's either hitting you or the puck's getting on net, and it's causing a scoring chance.
Now, last season, Daniel Sprong in 66 games played had 21 goals, 25 assists for 46 points. I don't think there should be any issue with him repeating that, if not exceeding it. Though I think that you're looking at a possibly deadly combo if you put Daniel Sprong and Michael Rasmussen on the ice at the same time. If you make Ras your net front and Sprong is consistently getting pucks on net, Ras does a couple of things. He takes away the eyes, and if the goalie makes the save, we've seen Ras be really good down low, right in front of the net, because he has really good hand-eye coordination. Another guy who eventually will make the team that might be a good combo with Daniel Sprong is Elmer Soderblom, who has the same kind of effect. If you put Soderblom down low with his hands in tight and his ability to block off the vision of the goalie, you've got the big guys now that you pair with the good, accurate shots to get more chances in and pucks on net. But I think that Daniel Sprong is another guy who stood out to a lot of people. And I think that, again, that's depth scoring that's going to come from your bottom six and on special teams with someone like Sprong.
And a couple of those guys, maybe not necessarily Elmer, but if you've got Raz and Sprong on your second power play unit, that could be dangerous.
Yeah, we always talked about the first unit for the Wings has always been the better unit. And, obviously most power play units have one that's really good and another that can score at times. And I think the Wings' second power play unit has been like non-existent over the last couple of years. Can they get that going with a guy like Sprong, with a guy like Rasmussen, if he's not going to be on the first one? We talked about maybe Nate Danielson as well. So that's one thing that I look for Daniel Sprong. Love his shot. Love how physical he is. I think the first preseason game I'm like, who the fuck is this 88 looking like David Pasternak out here? And it was Daniel Sprong. Now, I like Daniel Sprong. He's a good player. He's got the follically challenged situation at 26 years old. Looks like he's about 30, but in 66 games, you said he had 46 points. He can definitely, better that. I would say, could he get 30 goals? Could he get, 25 goals? That's where you look. And then obviously he's probably going to be playing with some pretty good players on that third unit on that third line. He's going to have more than 25 assists, I would think, if he can play a full season, which he's had problems with going back to his days with the Penguins as well.
Well, if you've got him out there playing more than 11 minutes and 25 seconds a night, that point total is going up, especially the goals.
No doubt.
If you look at his even strength stats, he had 32 of his 46 points at even strength. That's 15 of his 21 goals. So he's also a good 5-on-5 player, which, Red Wings struggled overall with offense, but if you can get those guys that can also score at even strength and bump those numbers up, especially in depth, and if you're rolling him third line and you can get him 13 to 15 minutes a night, I think the way that Newsy kind of distributes time is pretty good among the second through fourth line. And now with the depth, it's going to be even more so distributed between those lines, that Sprong's going to have more opportunity to score. But I think he's also going to have better talent around him, that when that puck gets on net, there's a better chance of it going in. So what we're going to do is there anyone else you guys want to talk about before we do a quick commercial break and move into questions? Because we have a boatload tonight.
No.
Yeah.
No?
Actually.
Who, Tyler?
I think Lucas Raymond does look very good out there. I think he's looked fast. I think he's looked a little bit more physical. The playmaking ability is still there. And he looks heavier. He really does. He's going into the corner. He's hitting guys, going to the dirty areas. I think it helps when he's playing with a guy like DeBrincat. He doesn't have to be the guy to score. He can be the facilitator to a guy like DeBrincat. So I've liked everything I've seen from Raymond. I've liked everything I've seen from Larkin, but I think that goes without being said.
All right, you're right about Raymond, and now we just have to talk about it because you mentioned it. The Alex DeBrincat Dylan Larkin connection is
unreal. It's already unreal.
Is a sight to behold, and it's going to be constantly us. Now it has not been Larkin to DeBrincat; it's been DeBrincat to Larkin, which again proves Yzerman's point of DeBrincat the facilitator. He can do it, and Larkin can bury it. But I think they're going to go back and forth all season. And it's going to be really fun to watch because you can tell how happy they are that DeBrincat is on the team and how happy Larkin is that DeBrincat's on the team, that once Larkin scores or once they set each other up, it's just the smiles tell you the whole thing. And it's just been beautiful to watch.
No, the chemistry is already off the charts between those two. And we saw the flashes of it even in Traverse City. Particularly what I'm obsessing over right now is how they've looked together on the power play. And one of the things that we talked about going into this year is the power play. If it improves, it's going to give this team a fighting chance in winning games that maybe they didn't win before, but also trying to knocking that door down and get in the playoffs. So if this is where you're going to see that added production come in, that's going to push Larkin well past a point per game player, get DeBrincat back on Blackhawks form. Huge.
Overall, so far, you've got Alex DeBrincat with 4 points, Michael Rasmussen with 4, Danielson with 3, Sprong with 3, Larkin with 3, Compher with 3, and Robbie Fabry, who also had a really good game the other night with 3 points. He got hurt. He should be back this week. I don't have high
tomorrow,
hopes.
So the day that this comes out.
Yeah, I don't have high hopes for the health of Robbie Fabry this season, which will make
it wasn't his
for
knee.
A rookie. No, it was his shoulder. It was
I don't
upper
know what
body.
All I heard was upper body. I haven't seen anything since.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was shoulder, but yeah, Robbie Fabry again. Every time he leaves the ice, you wince and cross your fingers. So I don't have high hopes. Which I mean, it'll give a rookie a shot, but it kind of sucks for Robbie Fabry.
It does because he's a guy that in his time out there so far, he has been skating great, and he
really
is, every
effective.
Time he's out there, he's making something happen.
Yeah, so cross your fingers, cross your toes, knock on all the wood in your house that Robbie Fabry can play more than 40 games this season, and I think we'll be okay. But what we're going to do really quick before we jump into a mailbag is we're going to take a quick commercial break, the message from DraftKings, and then maybe something YouTube insert. Someone complained to me or complained on the thing, like, why does this show have so many commercials? I'm sorry, guys. I like to make money. So we let YouTube sprinkle some commercials in, and normally it's mid-roll stuff.
Ooh.
And then we only have DraftKings right now, and I'm working on setting a spot in the middle where YouTube will play an ad right after the DraftKings ad. That way you get both of them out of the way at once. So we're going to do a word from it'll be a word from DraftKings, and then probably a YouTube ad. So we'll be back in just a minute after the commercials are over. So just sit tight, and we'll be right back. We're back with another week of football, and DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers every single game day. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw 5 down on any of this week's epic matchups to walk away an instant winner. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Football's more fun when you're in on the action. So download the app now and sign up with code THPN. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. And we're back, and we have a mailbag, and it's a lot of mail, but shut the fuck up, Ryan. Like, come on.
I love
that one.
You think about it. No, it was a very good one. I wasn't going to say anything, but you had to look at me when you did it.
You laughed at me.
I'm in your head. I'm in your head.
It's not in my head. I can see you laugh. It's a physical reaction that you have.
You didn't have to look at me there.
Oh my God. All right. Well, everyone can watch Lyon. Yeah, Ryan on YouTube, laugh at me whenever I say, and we're back. You know what? I'm not going to say, and we're back anymore. I'm just going to go into the next segment. I'm going to do what Brian Fischer does and say like segment 2 or whatever. And then I don't have to say that with any kind of enthusiasm, so you won't laugh at me. But again, we're on YouTube. So go sub to our YouTube and watch Ryan laugh at me and me break down and cry because Ryan laughed at me. But we've got mailbag questions. It's our preseason mailbag. By the time we record our next episode, it will be the 9th, which means that preseason, I believe, will be over. So yeah, the last game is on the 7th. It'll be a preseason wrap going into regular season, which we will be at Little Caesars Arena. All 3 of us. We've got our tickets. We will be there in the house. So if you're going to be there,
Greg,
stop by and see us. Yeah, man.
Wait, what happened? How'd you get out of it?
My in-laws moved it up by a week because it worked better with my mother-in-law's work schedule or something, and it freed me up. So, no, they were able to get a better campsite. That's what it is. So they found a better campsite opened up, so they moved it up a week. So I'll be there. And if you will be there, reach out to us on Twitter or wherever. Our DMs are open. We'd love to say hi to people. We like drinking with people and meeting people and getting pictures and putting them on social media. So reach out to us and we'll make it happen. But our first question we are going to take is from Bedard Loves Nate Danielson at Mosider Fanboy on Twitter. Have y'all considered replacing Tyler? And you know what? Thought about it a couple times. I just like putting pictures where Tyler's face is supposed to be, like where's Waldo? Or where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? But Tyler likes being a guest on our show, right, Tyler?
Yeah, I don't think you can be replaced on the show that you created all these years ago. I know you guys have kept
Julius
it alive.
Caesar would like a word.
TVs do it all the time.
I don't think you can be replaced on a show that was created by you. So
Johnny Carson, just saying.
Did you just say that they replaced the voice of Rick and Morty? You know, it was the guy who created the show.
You got a point.
Anyways, I mean, like I said, it's all 3 of our podcasts at this point. And again, I am the founder, but this is our podcast. And no, they're not going to replace me. I'm good friends with these guys. I stay at Ryan's house when I'm in town. So
they're charging a fee.
I don't think they're going to replace me. But anyways, yeah.
In the middle of you talking, I should have just hit the boot button and you would have just cut out midway. No, we're not going to replace Tyler yet. So we got our next question. Our next question is from Brendan at Ketzel_Enon on Twitter. Also on the Discord. And we have a Discord, so you can check that out too on our Linktree link. But after a look at our prospect pool, who do we see as not quite generating into an NHL player and could be moved for better assets? And this is kind of tough to answer at this particular moment. I'm not sure it would be who's not going to generate into an NHL player because a lot of our high-end prospects have legitimate NHL talent. I think maybe you're looking at a guy like Jared McIsaac, or you're looking at a guy maybe even in Emil Viro, who has not been super impressive, but again, he's only a couple years in. I think you're looking at guys that are going to be NHL talent that we are going to have to move because there's no room. So if you've got to move an Albert Johansson as a defensive prospect, maybe you have to move not have to, but you could move maybe a William Wallinder for a forward if you end up needing a forward. I don't think it's going to be moving out guys who are just like those fringe NHL players because other teams really don't want those. I think it's going to be the guys that have shown promise that you don't really have room for.
Yeah, I think Albert Johansson could be one of the guys, Emil Vero, obviously. But in terms of a guy that I wouldn't move right now, William Wallinder. I love the way he's played. I've watched I think 3 out of the 4 preseason games. Haven't really watched much tonight, but from what I've seen of William Wallinder, really good player. Probably wouldn't trade him. Obviously, yeah, but that's pretty much the extent at this point of the untouchables.
Yeah, I think I'm going to flip that in its head a little bit because the end is what is catching me on the question. It could be moved for better assets, because if you've got a guy that's in the prospect pool that's not making a buzz, that means you're looking at a Tuomisto, or not, Mastrosimone, I'm sorry, where they didn't sign him to his entry-level deal. He walked. Now he's in Toronto's system. If you're looking at that from that way, I don't really think there's probably guys that you could look at the reserve list on Cap Friendly and be like, okay, yeah, they're probably on the out. But I think if you're going to be moving stuff for better assets, you're going to have to look at these guys that we just mentioned, like a Wallinder or Johansson, of now you're making a trade for an NHL caliber player, not assets. Because if you're having to look at guys to move in your pool, it's either picks that are going to go out, which I don't think Yzerman's ready to do that, or top prospects to get NHL caliber, good, like NHL caliber players to bring in. Not seeing a trade where we lucked out with a Kubalik on the outs to bring in a DeBrincat. It's not going to be a situation like that per se. It's going to be a Johansson to try to bring in, name a player that would immediately make this team better. So that's where I think that we would be looking
David
at it.
Pastrnak once Boston goes through their rebuild.
Ryan, October 2nd, Robert Mastrosimone was released from his PTO by the Maple Leafs.
Never mind.
So he's with a resounding nobody. Nobody has Robert Mastrosimone right now. So our next question, and it's going to be 3 questions, basically, that have all been asked by different people, is genuine thoughts on Danielson making the team this year or making the opening night roster. And it's going to be, from Patrick and from Burner on Twitter. I don't think it's happening. And if it does, it's only a 9-game tryout. Hey, look, Peter Mrazek's in that. That's funny. But it's going to be a 9-game tryout, if anything. I don't think they really want to burn a year of Nate Danielson's ELC. Now, is he good enough to play? Yes. Do I want him playing 9 minutes a night in Detroit? Or do I want him playing 20 plus minutes a night in the WHL, dominating and building leadership? Like that's where I'm at in it. And sure, he might get special teams on the second power play unit. Maybe. I'm just not ready to say, throw this kid in and do the Michael Rasmussen treatment just because that's what's necessary, because he can't play in the AHL. Someone had also asked, do you think you might be able to get him an exemption? That is also a hard thing to do. It was done with Shane Wright because he had a COVID year. He had special status to play early. Then he also had a COVID year, which was written off completely. So they said, fine, he can go to the AHL. Now, the only wrinkle there is Nate Danielson's played more games than him in the WHL. So I don't think Danielson will make the opening night roster, but could he? Absolutely.
I think if you're looking at it from the top-down view, it's still very much an uphill battle. Like, you have to have Nita Fabry to be out long-term. And I'm not saying that's who I want to be out. I'm just, because he was the most recent guy to have an injury that we know of. That's the type of situation where you have, like with Lucas Raymond, I think he had a similar start to his preseason, his rookie year. And then the Verona stuff kind of happened. And then they're like, oh, there's an opportunity for him to slot in the top 6. And he did. And he had a great season, rookie of the year candidate. So I think that's where you'd have to look at it in terms of Danielson making it in, because I don't think he slots in over Berggren. I don't think he necessarily slots in over Veleno, because right now, arguably, those guys are both in your bottom 6. And the way that Danielson's been playing, can he play either way with it and go? What do you know? Berggren assists to Veleno for a one-timer goal. Hey, spoken into existence.
It's still 0-1 on my TV.
Well, Veleno just scored on a beauty from inside the circle. There we go. On a great sauce pass through the legs of the defender, beat Mrazek far glove side. What a play by Burgers.
What a pass.
And what a shot. Veleno would go down to the knee. Beautiful. He just came off from a change, too, so I think Chicago kind of lost him out there. But anyways, so no, I mean, you have these two making plays like this. Danielson's not going to surpass him right now. So unless there's a big injury, I think it's a very steep hill to climb, or to him to make it. Would I love him to make it? Yes. Is it going to happen? I really don't think it will, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, it's no fault of his own. I mean, it just makes more sense for him to play more. It's not that he has not played well enough to make it. It's just that I think there's more opportunity for him to play if you send him back to junior.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that there's an outside shot he makes it. I guess it would depend on somebody getting hurt or someone getting waived or something like that to happen. The more likely scenario is he goes back to the WHL and dominates and builds some leadership, character, all that good stuff.
Oh, that's very much there already, I think.
Yeah. No, I'm saying building more. And then then we'll probably see him again this time next year, and at that point he probably does make the team.
This time next year, we could be talking about a Kasper, a Danielson, and maybe a Hanas, or insert other player at forward potentially making this roster.
Carter Mazur.
Yeah, that's another one that we haven't talked about because of his injury. Yeah. So, when it was Brandon that asked about the exemption, I would love for it to happen. I just don't think that they'd go for it.
Yeah, it seemed more like a thing because of COVID at the time, and that's where they were letting it slide.
Yeah, so our next question is about goalies. We had questions from Red Rogue and Mika Robinson on Twitter about goalies, basically asking, what do you think, who do you think wins the backup job, and what happens to the goalie that doesn't become the backup, and how much will that affect Kossa's workload and development in Grand Rapids? I think right now it's probably going to be James Reimer. James Reimer's looked really good. Alex Lyon might be the starter in Grand Rapids as of right now, and Cossa may be the backup. I've talked to a couple people. The one person says even though we don't take stock in the prospect tournament, that management is not thrilled at performances so far with Cossa. I'm not sure it's going to affect Kossa's development because him and Lethemon 1A, 1B in Grand Rapids are in Toledo last season. Lethemon's on a contract, could go to Grand Rapids, but you're probably looking at a 1A, 1B with Cossa and probably Alex Lyon in Grand Rapids to start the season.
Yeah, that's tough. I want to see Lyon out there some more. I thought he's actually played pretty decent up to this point. Reimer has made some very noticeable saves, and he's looking like a guy that for his career has had all but one season over a 900 save percentage in a season. Last year was the only year he didn't get above it, and it was on one of the worst teams in hockey history at San Jose. So you know exactly what you're getting. Hello, Ben Sherratt, taking out Foligno. With James Reimer. Lyon, it was kind of a great thing for him to help out with Florida and their push last season. And I don't know. I don't like Tyler. I think you mentioned it earlier. He's probably a guy that does get picked up by Tampa. They know, they dealt with him. They know what he was close by last season. They know what they're dealing with. So, and if that's the case, then you make that signing. Like, here's where it could get interesting with the goaltenders. Like, do you wait in terms of making those roster cuts, especially a goalie, to see if Tampa does pick someone up? That way, if you're making a cut in Lyon, if he does get picked up, then you sign Hutchinson. Like, do you not cut one or the other? Like what I mean by sign Hutchinson, you got a two-way deal between Grand Rapids and Detroit, and then now you've got him as your help with Cossa to learn off of. So I don't know. I think it'll be Reimer overall.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I think the one thing that I look for with Reimer, I mean, he's 35, where Lyon is 30. But again, it's kind of a 1 year, 2 year kind of situation, or actually in Reimer's case, it's a 1 year situation. Yep. So I mean, would I rather have it be Lyon, to be honest with you? Yes, but I don't think Lyon's played as good as Reimer has. So could you just do a situation, and I'm kind of going to steal your thunder a little bit, but is it a situation where you say Reimer and Husso are the guys, you put Lyon on waivers, and if he gets picked up by Tampa Bay, he gets picked up, and then you pick up Michael Hutchinson and have him and Cossa be the 1A, 1B in GR.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of possibility there. But I think Cossa is going to get a couple more chances during the preseason to kind of show. I don't think he's been bad. That's the thing, is just people are like, oh, Kossa's been very underwhelming. I think the 2 goals that he let in, one was a shaky situation in front of the net. The other, his eyes were taken away. I think both of them, he had minimal chance to make the save. And the rest of the saves that he made some on-point saves during that game. So I'm not worried about Cossa. Again, he's 20 years old. We need to leave him alone for at least another season before we start throwing the he's a bust around, because a lot of people are already doing that, and it's not going to help his development. So let's leave him alone. Let's let him cook, as the children would say. We're going to let him cook and see what he can do. But I did like the saves that he made in the game he got, and I think he'll get a couple more during preseason here. So our next question is from Adam Kerr. Should the Wings be interested in Steven Stamkos if he makes it to market? He could provide solid veteran playoff experience that they need to start making a push, maybe a 3-year deal at a 7.5 AAV. That's high for me for Stammer at his age. Maybe. I mean, again, that crowds your center market again, which you've already got Compher, you've already got Kopp, you've got Kasper trying to come in, and you've got Danielson.
Stammer not played a lot of wing the last couple of years. I feel like he has with Point being, he's played center the whole time. No, it's Point, Kucherov, and Killorn. That's what it's been the last couple of years. Is their line number 1?
The word is that they would not be sad if he went. That's the word, is that the Tampa Bay Lightning would lose no sleep if they lost Steven Stamkos.
Okay, come on down. I'll take him in a heartbeat. I don't care how old he is at this point. He's only, where is he? What's he going to be? He is 34 in February. Okay, 2-3-year deal. I don't care. He is one of the most prolific goal scorers at center in hockey.
But you're not giving him $7.5 million a season.
No, I don't think Yzerman would either. But he's won multiple Stanley Cups. He's an all-star. He's won, what else has he won? Maurice Richard, 2-time trophy winner. I just look back to the Red Wings of old. Look at the center type of depth that they put on those teams. But they were all studs. And guess what? They played the role they had to play. That's what a Stamkos would do. You can put him in your middle 6 and you have him be one of the top leaders on this team. Go. Because that's a kind of guy that, even if he's not playing every night, can help get you over the hump. But he still played 81 games last season, had 84 points.
Yeah, and he played 81 games a season before. He's historically generally over a point per game player, except for the 34 points in 38 games in 2021, where he was out most of the season. I mean, he's played, let's see, 5 complete seasons in his career. The 2019-20 season was 57 games. He played that too. And then that was
COVID. And then the 12-13 year was lockout.
And then this last season, the season before, he only missed 1 game each. So, I mean, when he does get injured, he generally goes down for a while, but I don't think I'm giving him $7.5 million, though he's probably going to command that or more in an open market kind of situation. Being that he would end up being a free agent at 34?
Yeah, he'd be coming in as a 34-year-old.
Yeah, I think if you did anything, maybe a 3 by 5.5, a 3 by 6.
Yeah, I mean, with a rising cap, and as long as you've got a Reimer under a bridge or some type of contract, and you've got Mo signed to a bridge or contract, that's all I would care about, because you've got the cap room still to make things happen, and the Larkin extension doesn't really hinder you. I'm sorry, and DeBrincat's contract won't hurt you. So I don't think they would have an issue. Now, if you can find someone younger, obviously that's ideal, but I don't think that it would be a situation where you're blocking out, say, because you've got Perron's a free agent going into next year, Sprong's a free agent, Christian Fischer, those are your UFAs, and then you've got a tender deals to Raz is going to need a new deal, Berggren, Raymond, and Veleno.
Evolving Hockey, if he were a free agent today, have him at a 3-year, $7.6 million cap hit.
I think that's high. I think that's I mean, obviously, Steven Stamkos with the cap going up in a situation where, Tampa's kind of saying goodbye to him or potentially saying goodbye to him. He is a winger, by the way, at this point. He's playing with Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov on the first line. So playing left the wing at this point.
He had, I think, more draws last year than Point.
I'm looking at the roster right now, and then I also looked at their last game that they played in the Stanley Cup playoffs last year, and he played on that first line. So, I mean, you might be
I'm just looking at the last year's season stats. He had 501 faceoff wins to 430 losses, where Point had 417 and 405.
I wonder if it's a situation where on one side of the ice, Point's taking the draws, and on the other side of the ice, Stamkos is taking the draws.
Are they both a righty?
They're both righties, yeah, correct. But, some guys are better on their backhand, some guys better on their forehand, trying to win the draw. Either way, regardless of the situation, still a good player, still a good goal scorer. Is he the same guy he once was? No, probably not, but he was never going to be after that leg injury on that afternoon in Boston where he went into the post. So, but he's still
his leg snapped
player.
In half like a fucking candy cane.
Yeah, exactly. And he was still almost ready for the Olympics that year, which was absolutely insane. But yeah, I would say absolutely yes. Anywhere from 6.5 to almost 6.75, somewhere around there for 3 years. I'd be totally fine with that, especially with the cap going up.
Can we talk about the fact that Detroit is doing an incredible job, mainly in this period, of getting in the shooting lanes and blocking shots?
Blocking shots in preseason, baby. Injuring those knees. Love to see it. Our next question is from Lucas Mountain on Twitter. What roles will the rookie players such as Kasper, Mazur, Lombardi, Hanas, and Wallinder play in GR this year? Also, if Edvinsson and Johansson start in Grand Rapids, could they be the top defensive pairing? All those guys should have. They should be the top guys on the team. You're looking at scoring in Mazur, Lombardi, and Hanas, who's also looked good in this preseason. Cross Hanas has gotten more comfortable as they've gone. Kasper is going to provide that physicality and probably be the 1C. You're looking at a 2C probably of Lombardi. Wallinder should be, I would say maybe Wallinder, Edvinsson might be your top defensive pairing, simply because if you're going to roll out experience among the lines, you probably are going to put Johansson on line 2 since this is Wallinder's first season in North America. They've both played right side at some point in their career, even though they're both lefties. So I think those are the guys you're really looking to carry the team because they're the guys that have the most NHL upside going down the stretch. So you're hoping that the guys you have high hopes for to make the Red Wings one day are going to just go into Grand Rapids and kill it.
Yeah, I think for all those names that are listed right there, you want them playing in all situations. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the D shakes out, because are they going to want to have a lefty on the left, a righty on the right, and actually have that balance? Because right now you look at it, they've got Tuomisto as a righty. I could see him being up there. I don't think he's wowed me with his play, but the shots there, I think offensively he's looked a lot better than he has defensively.
He's got a rocket.
Yeah. So if you're looking for balance in terms of handedness, then I think that's where you could see kind of an issue potentially, because then you've got Rafferty and Newpower as well as your vets on the defense back there. And then you've got your gluttony of left-handed D. So yes, there will be guys not playing necessarily. And will you see a Wallinder and Johansson playing on their offhand? I think that was kind of your likely suspects there. So it'll be interesting. But as for the forwards, Kasper, you want him on your top line, your top power play, your top PK, I think. Mazur, when he gets back healthy, same thing. Lombardi, I think you slow him in as your second or third line center. Try to get him used to everything again. Make sure that, I think he's looked extremely comfortable in terms of faceoff so far to this point.
He Hanas also stripped Connor Bedard.
Yep. Hanas, I think if he's healthy, you've got him out there in all situations. So really, I think best case scenario is you've got these guys learning how to be a complete player, much to what Lalone and his staff is looking for. And if that's the case, especially on the forward front, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, I agree 100% with pretty much everything you said there. And that's just to say also, I think Grand Rapids is going to be a very much improved team this year.
I hope so. We thought that last year and got shit on.
They got a new coach.
They had injuries though too. You got to remember that.
Yeah,
and also
that's fair.
Some call-ups as well and stuff like that. So I mean, I think this year they'll be much better. Obviously,
touching net. Sorry, did they switch out? Look like it. Anyway, so I'm sorry.
Did it looks like they did. But anyways,
I think Hutch has a plain white helmet, so it looks plain white.
Those are the grossest things in the world. The plain white helmets.
Well, when you don't know where you're going to go, I think that's probably a wise choice.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kasper, Mazur, Lombardi, Hanas, I mean, all those guys will be obviously in Grand Rapids. We'll see what happens with Edvinsson, Johansson, guys like that. But again, like I said, I think they're going to be a much improved team. And I think they should be one of the better teams in the AHL if everything goes the way that it's supposed to.
All right, so for this question, Carter asks, which new free agent / traded for player will outproduce what we expect? And we're all going to say our answer on the count of 3 because I feel like we might all have the same answer. So which one will outproduce expectations? And it's only free agents and traded for players. Ready? 1. Are we all not on mute? Okay, ready? 1.
Are we
2,
all saying is first name or last name?
Last name.
Okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Sprong.
DeBrincat.
Do you have a 5 count there, Tyler?
Tyler forgot what comes after 2, apparently.
No, I got distracted by the fact that Greg said Sprong. I thought we were all saying DeBrincat at the same time. I'm like, oh wait, shit.
Well, I mean, outproduce what we expect. So I guess it depends on what you expect from Alex DeBrincat. But I think I'm expecting like 23 goals from Sprong, but I could see a situation where he gets 25 plus.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think that might be the safe one. I don't even want to say it's the safe one. Like if Sprong, if he is pulling that off or even going 25 plus, win all day. That is your best pickup potentially of the offseason because he's not doing that against top scoring or top lines potentially. He is the depth guy that every team craves. And I hope it doesn't lead to a situation where that's trade bait. I don't think it will because age, size, and what he can bring to the team are all going to play a factor because he could be here long term. But I think I went with DeBrincat because if how this preseason plays out can be in any indication as to what could happen, I think the safe bet was a 30-30 year. That might be low for many. Sure. It's depends on how you want to look at it. But to me, the way that he's already clicking with Larkin and what he could potentially do with the power play and help this team scoring, whether it's shooting goals or assists, I think it's not anywhere near out of the question that you've got 2 guys in Larkin and DeBrincat both hitting a point per game plus this season. And that's going to go help this team go a long way.
I agree 100%. I think DeBrincat's, obviously the obvious choice. Another guy that I would just throw in there as well. JT Compher is another guy that I think that is really going to impress a lot of people.
All right. Well, I guess that didn't work the way I wanted it to work because you guys suck.
Good housekeeping.
Yeah, that's great. All right. I want to get you guys' final thoughts before we sign off. I'm going to start with Tyler because he might not be here for a while. So.
Oh, God. Final thoughts are hockey is finally almost back. I think we're 1 week away exactly from the NHL season kicking off next Tuesday night. So looking forward to that. Obviously looking forward to seeing the Red Wings. Was it the Devils, right? That's the first regular season
on the 12th
game at New Jersey. So that'll be interesting.
That's an ESPN game too.
Yeah. I mean, finally you see the Red Wings get to play on ESPN against a really good marquee opponent that a lot of people are picking to win that Metropolitan Division and potentially even the Stanley Cup. So that'll be interesting to see how they stack up against a team like the Devils. But overall, man, just really glad hockey is just about back and really looking forward to seeing guys like Alex DeBrincat finally make his Detroit Red Wings debut. And I'll see you guys in Detroit on Saturday night. You can follow me on Twitter at SealDog91.
So thrilled at what time you guys fly into. That's wonderful.
I won't bother you to get Tim Hortons this time.
Ryan, final thought. Tim Hortons blows. You should never get Tim Hortons. It's fucking awful.
Coffee does not blow.
It is the worst iced coffee I've ever had.
I don't drink iced coffee, only hot coffee here.
You drink normal coffee.
No, man.
Anyways.
The summer I have to drink iced coffee. I could drink hot coffee in the fucking summer.
That's how I wake up every day. So, and I drink Black Rifle Coffee Company anyways. I prefer that over anything else at this point.
Do you put cream and sugar in your coffee?
Only minimal.
You're an animal.
Black coffee, buddy.
Black is my goddamn soul. Ryan, final thoughts.
My final thoughts are, after several years in the Army of drinking the basically black tar, I like to actually enjoy it. So that's why I put a little bit of something in there. But I can drink it black because it actually has flavor. Other than that, though, we do have hockey. It is friggin' wonderful. Wings they're giving a valiant effort tonight for having a mostly AHL roster out there and less. But no, I don't think we're in for too many surprises, but you never know what could happen come next week. And I'm pumped that the next time we do talk, we likely should have a finalized NHL roster. We should see an NHL lineup out there Saturday in their final preseason game. So I think the way that things are going to this point, the team is playing well together. Whether or not it's consistent with who their line mates are, you can tell that Lyon has had a better offseason to really get to know this team for one and prepare them for the season ahead. And I hope that really starts to pay dividends. Whether or not it translates to the playoffs is to be seen, but you got to be excited and happy with the way things are going. So, yeah. Tyler, I'll see you in a week. Already around 33.
You can follow me online at Bringing the Wing. Follow the Grindline Podcast online at Grindline Pod. Go sub to us on YouTube. Turn on the notifications. There'll be a lot more stuff coming out as the season progresses. We also like to thank the Hockey Podcast Network for hosting us and spreading our podcast around. Give a shout out to Vintage Detroit, which is the only place you should get your Detroit jerseys from and worked on. Get them while Adidas is in stock before they switch to the shitty Fanatic stuff that's on its way up.
Just buy CCMs on Facebook Marketplace. People sell them for stupid cheap, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, and you can bring them to Vintage Detroit, and they'll get the work done. Or you think you can also ship them to them, and they'll get the work done as well. If you use a promo code GRINDLINE on Bring Hockey Back, you will get 12% off your order. If it's the same promo code on Howie's Hockey Tape, you get 10% off. You can also check out our merch at redbubble.com by searching The Grindline. But that is going to do it for us tonight. So for Ryan and Tyler, I'm Greg. You stay classy, Hockey Town.